What's going on, gamers? So I just ran into Dreamcast guy's video. It's been a while since I reacted to him. We've been doing a lot of content on our channel outside of like reacting to people. And I saw the title, Xbox failed badly, zero game sales, even on PS5. Now, you've got some people try to come to my channel and try to mock me talking about Dreamcast Guy 2.0. I'm like, okay, yeah, first of all, no, I don't think so. And I like Dreamcast Guy. You know that he's a cool guy. But I will never put zero game sales because I know he loves clickbaiting people with certain things. Like, because it's like, that's not true, though. It wasn't zero game sales. I don't do that type of stuff. But I know he likes to do that because, some things are funny. And he has a way of strong-arming certain people, and it gets to them big time. I think that's pretty obvious. So let's go ahead and react to this. Let me know what you guys think, and let's see what he has to say. I haven't watched anything. This is going to be my first time. It's going to be a react on the fly. That's what I like to do. Let's go.
Hey there gamers, Dreamcast Guy here. Today we're talking about Xbox because Microsoft just released a detailed financial report as to how Xbox is doing after their big third-party push. That technically, it seems like for the last year now, they've been really advertising, hey, the latest, greatest, biggest Xbox games are anywhere you want. This is an Xbox. Your PlayStation Xbox. Your phone is an Xbox. You're an Xbox. But people are kind of wondering how that ad campaign turned out, right? I mean, not only did, obviously, they fired Phil Spencer and Sarah Bond, but people are kind of curious, okay, did going third party at least lead to more sales? Were they selling more copies of games? And it turns out, no. The actual numbers are extremely, shockingly bad. Apparently, nobody is buying an Xbox. Nobody is getting a Game Pass. And also, still, nobody's buying Xbox games. I mean, I'm truly at a spot where I'm actually a bit flabbergasted.
Well, that's because it's a brand identity issue. People don't want to be associated with anything with them. And any developer that has gotten with them has tanked down. The quality has synced down. They jacked up the price of the console multiple times and made their service more. So it's like, of course, services are going to be down because you don't know what you're doing. And when it comes to third-party publishing, yeah, their games are not that attractive. So it's like, if everybody is just taken down with you, whereas they were better off before being multi-platform and being left alone and their quality was higher, they're going to sell more. I think anything associated with Microsoft and their identity and just the way things have been lately in the gaming industry, it's just been a down spiral. It has not been good. So that's why those results are not as good. Besides, Forza, right? That's doing well. And even Rare Sea of Thieves, which sold a couple million on PlayStation, even coming years later. If we look at the Oblivion remake or remaster, it's like that should have done a lot better. Usually Bethesda, which is be powerhouse, when it comes to sales, but they're not. And that's why I feel like, yeah, something has to change. They have to get strong publishing. That's why I say these games that are coming out this year, State of Decay 3, Halo, which doesn't have multiplayer, another terrible decision. You want to go to PlayStation, but yeah, you don't have multiplayer. You can't tell me that's one of the worst decisions, like ever, in Xbox history to not have multiplayer on the next-gen remake of Halo. Literally makes no sense to me.
Because it just seems like no matter how much they advertise, no matter how much they push, no matter how much they say, hey, here's the new Forza, here's the new Halo, here's the new Gears of War, it seems like nobody cares about Xbox games, even when they're not on Xbox. But let's take a look at it. Let's take a look at some of the reactions, because it seems like even a lot of the big gaming journalists that typically are a lot nicer towards Team Green, even they're kind of thinking that maybe Asha Sharma can't save this. But let's get into it. I hope you're having a great day. If you could please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. I am very slightly hungover from a concert I went to last night with a person called Ash Nico. Big fan of that. But nice. If I sound a bit tired, it's because I am. But Microsoft quarter 3 2026 financials. Ooh, everything down. Windows down. Gaming revenue down. Gaming content down. Hardware down. Oh, literally red across the board. Now, this is a little bit surprising because typically, usually, like devices revenue is usually up. Usually they say like, oh, we sold this amount of like new Windows systems or a Microsoft Surface iPad knockoff. But now everything is in the red. Gaming revenue being down. Content and services, this is basically like how they talk about like Game Pass numbers is down. but hardware revenue down 33%. Now, this is not just the sale of Xbox consoles, it's also the stuff of like Xbox controllers. Literally, nobody is buying anything. Now, in the comments, a lot of people are saying, okay, well, PlayStation's been having some bad times too. PlayStation been shut down studios. So maybe this isn't just particularly an Xbox problem. Maybe it's an industry problem that across the board, everybody.
The problem with some of those studios Sony shut down, they're not qualified. Microsoft would easily shut all them down because they're not producing anything. Definitely from a PlayStation standard. Now, Bluepoint, no. You know what I mean? But it's like, just because somebody gets shut down doesn't always necessarily mean it's negative. Some people are just not qualified and they don't meet the status quo. It's a double-edged sword. Sometimes it's like, no, that does not always mean it's bad that they got shut down. No, they're just not good developers. You know what I mean? They're not producing anything good. It's a bunch of generic live service nonsense. It's like, it's not always bad. It's good that you're stopping the live service and getting back to your core. So it's not, it just depends.
Is kind of underperforming, but I feel like that doesn't fully paint the picture as to how bad this is. Xbox users, it got better, 33%, over $100 billion used, and still the same downfall. Nice benchmark for now. I guess we'll see the next quarter if the improvements are helping in the short term. Now, this is...
You know what I like what they're saying about over 100 billion used and still at the same downfall? Actually, it's worse. It's that this is what I love about the gaming industry. It has a soul. You can't just buy your way into first place. It's a game of the insides. I love it. I want you guys to think about that. Like, when you think about, like, this thing is kind of like stuck for a certain... All right, let's go ahead and do this.
A great point. Also, I do like the idea of a nuclear toaster is a fantastic name. But that is correct, right? Asha Sharma has now taken over, and even in literally her first 30 days of tenure, she has now dropped the price of Game Pass. She's talking about the idea of exclusivity maybe returning in some form, even if it's limited exclusivity. She's clearly trying to make it where the Xbox brand isn't so toxic. Right now, how many times do you ever encounter anybody that's like a proud Xbox only owner, right? Even if you own an Xbox, usually you're also gaming on PC or you're gaming on PlayStation or Nintendo. Nobody just owns an Xbox. That's just like not even a thing anymore. I did see this quote from I think it was here's that one, right? So Chris Dring is a guy who does a lot of like tech analysis stuff. He's a very big games writer, and a lot of people hate this dude because he talks a lot about sales, about honestly how bleak it is, not just for like the market in general, but specifically how uniquely bad Xbox is doing. And today he was doing a video where he said that according to the Circana data, which I always think that word should have like a Circana, but it's Circana consumer survey found that basically the number one reason people buy their consoles is exclusives. 41% of people, when asked why would you buy a particular console, said the exclusives. And at this point, Xbox just doesn't have exclusives. They just don't. Like, there's Xbox Studio games, but there's not really Xbox games in the historical sense, the way there was with every other Xbox generation. Now, there's been a lot of apologies from a lot of people. Satya Nadella posted an apology. Asha Sharma even posted this strange thing today, right? Xbox earnings today. While we've made progress at expanding the business and our margins, player revenue and growth has not yet met our ambition. We know we have work to do, and every player today and into the future. Now, Asha Sharma has said that her goal is not what the previous people did. This is not just trying to sell 100 million Xboxes or trying to sell, 60 million controllers or something like that. She said her goal is player concurrence. They're basically trying to get as many people into the Xbox ecosystem as possible. We want to make games that are so big, so flashy, so cool. Everybody wants to be part of that experience, the zeitgeist shift, which is an interesting goal. And I think it's admirable, but we're going to see how she skews that. Maybe she's going to say, oh, this game was successful a little bit on every platform, so technically like 2 million people played it. But also Satya Nadella said, oh, you know what?
Oh God, this fake
Things
stuff,
are just
it's not
hard
real.
right now. You know, we're trying to strengthen our engagement and win fans back to Xbox being an edge. In the near-term future, we're focused on the fundamentals and prioritizing quality. Now, I am taking this as the fact that Xbox realizes that the biggest problem they have is how much of the market share of gaming they've lost. Like, truly consider that, right? Xbox 360 was the biggest console. That's not a debate. Like, Xbox 360 was the juggernaut of gaming. Like, if you were not like around in 2006, everybody played on Xbox. Every game came first to Xbox. Every piece of DLC came first to Xbox. So it wasn't just the fact that Fable, Gears, like everything was so great. It was also the fact that, hey, here's an Xbox 360. Here's Skyrim DLC months early than every other platform. Here's Mass Effect. It only exists on Xbox.
We've seen this chart.
It was crazy. And I think that kind of acknowledges the fact that over the course of these years, it's not just that, less people are buying an Xbox. It's people that used to have Xbox that are selling it and buying a PlayStation or a Nintendo Switch 2 or a PC, which, yes, is running Windows, but it's not, playing stuff through the Xbox storefront. I think they kind of realize that it's not just a matter of like winning over fans, it's winning back X fans, which is a tougher sell because it's basically saying, hey, please rejoin our side. Please, we absolutely need your attention. Now, there is this thing I saw yesterday that is wild. So these are the estimated sales from Analytics, Analytics. What a weird ass fucking nursery rhyme ass. But so they've been very accurate with a lot of their like numbers things. They basically look at a bunch of like public scrapings of like sales data numbers and also like usually concurrence and stuff. They're able to very closely guess the success.
Guys, this is what I was going to say before when I was talking about this chart. Like, remember he was saying like their games are not selling? It's because this needs to be quality. Indiana Jones was actually a good game. Ninja Gaiden 4, sadly, you're just with the wrong aspect. Kind of sucks, RIP to Itagaki, but this is what I mean. Your games are just not blowing up. They're just not that good as they should be. You know what I mean? Gears of War Reload, I guess you can't ask for nothing better than that. But yeah, I mean, if they were better. A lot of
this is also like public sales numbers that have been talked about by the companies. And as you can see, this is the amount of games that sold on PlayStation. So some of these crazy low, not a big shock. Age of Empires, Outer Worlds 2, Age of Mythology, these selling, 150,000 copies, not a big shock. Starfield just came out. It sold 200,000 copies. It's still, I think it probably should have sold more than that, if they were trying to make it a success.
1 million at least.
Flight Sim is outselling it. Ninja Gaiden 4, look how low all of these are. Gears of War Reloaded selling almost 700,000 copies is surprising, but this is the thing, right? Forza, nearly 6 million copies. Sea of Thieves, 2.7 million copies. Oblivion, 1.2 million. And then everything else just lower and lower and lower. And I saw this. My takeaway is that you can make online multiplayer Xbox, PlayStation, cross-platform, but almost everything else you make exclusives, as it's probably not worth the brand damage for 5 million sales across 11 games. This is a good point, right? Like, almost all of these combined... Literally, all of these combined did not sell as much.
It wouldn't sell nothing on Xbox.
So you have to think, okay, was that really worth the money towards the development, towards liquidating your stock? I mean, really, how low can these freaking numbers go, right? So the multi-platform and still down across the board, good job. Oh, but what about the revenue? Oh, wait, it's also down. If they go back to exclusives, will it fix all that? I mean, long term, yeah, it'll help. Here's my thing, right, is that the more I think about Xbox in its current predicament, I think they have to go very, very drastic. I think they have to find a way to either, I don't know, hey, they have to retrain their audience, which is the hardest thing of all, right?
Yo, we talked about this. They cannot go back exclusive because that's like saying I'm going to make a next-gen console where I want to sell like 40 and 50 million consoles, and it's going to be exclusive the whole generation. Helix is not going to do that, and it's not going to be affordable to even be able to sell that much. It's a pipe dream. It's like, how are you going to return back to exclusives? Would you going to stay on the Series X consoles for another 5, 6 years? You can't. You would have to start a fresh generation and get a new momentum going and let them know, we're all exclusive back again. Let's go. We're in PlayStation's face, and we're going to have a $500 model or a $400 model. That is the only way, right? If you're not doing that, how the hell are you going to do that? You know what I mean? It's like, you need to sell. You're in such a, just a sinkhole that I don't see how that's going to be possible. Just saying, and you have to drop the price of these consoles. Series X right now needs to be $450. The S needs to be $200. That's your only hope, and then do exclusives with that. Other than that, I don't see how.
Be mad about PlayStation being so lazy. PlayStation definitely doesn't release enough first-party games, especially not first-party single-player games that made them great in the first place. But when PlayStation releases a game, people buy it. They buy it on day one. They tell their friends about it. They're posting clips. They're getting limited edition weird controllers or making custom stickers to smack on the side of their console. And so because of it, Sony makes more of those games in the future. At this point, nobody is buying Xbox games, even on the Xbox. Even when stuff does come out, they only get it on Game Pass. They get 1 month of Game Pass, they play it, they beat it, and they unsubscribe. And I think it's hitting this point where I think the business model has become so self-consuming. The market just does not care about Xbox games, even the people that like the Xbox. And I think the only way to do that is, I don't know, drastic price cuts, make your games $50 up front, bring back actual physical games instead of just a code in the box, or maybe release some weird tiers of, I don't know, Game Pass where only older games are on it. I think the day and date for all these years has led to a lot more money lost than money gained. I don't know. These are some off-the-cuff thoughts from a slightly out-of-it Dreamcast guy. But please, give this video a like, subscribe.
And that's the thing. It's like, do you think you're going to tell people that are used to Netflix, let's go back to buying Blu-ray stuff? They're not going to do it. That's the thing. It's like, it's tough. Though they're not in a Netflix situation like they have a lot of high amount of subs. But even then, the way you have conditioned the Xbox brand, it is very hard to turn that around. And that's only in that portion of the gaming community in the world. Sony will never put anything day one on extra or stuff like that. Nintendo, they won't put no games on there, period. You're just getting a retro world, which are actually smart. So that's the thing, which like, it's hard to think about how they could turn it around and go back exclusive. The Xbox brand has so much damage on it. It sucks. I hope that could happen. I mean, some type of miracle would have to happen for sure. But let me know what you guys think about this react. Leave a comment down below as usual. Keep on gaming no matter what platform you're on. Later, y'all.